gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble!
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Yes, welcome back to Sports and Sorts, live on a it's Wednesday morning around 10-ish. You want to be notified when we go live? Well, in order to really know that, you're going to have to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you will be notified whenever we go live. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. That always helps. And of course, you can find Sports and Sorts podcast anywhere podcasts are played. And all of our social media is on our website, which is at www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. And of course, I am one of your hosts. My name is Shane Moore.
I'm the Brian Man.
And if you comment during the show, we will put it up on the screen. That is only on YouTube. You have to watch us live. You watch us there. You comment. We'll get it on the screen. And today we're going to be talking a lot of sports. We got Kevin Durant is going to be out for a while after tearing his Achilles. And now there has been a big debate on if this was a dumb business move. That's something I would like to discuss with the Bry Man. And we'll talk about a little bit more on the NBA Finals as well. We have State of the Yankees. This is going to be brief because, you know what, they've been pretty bad. But the Bry Man's good problem to have nightmare is about to come true. Judge and Stanton might both be back next week. I don't know. This is too much to handle too soon. And the greatest clay player of all time, Nadal, wins his 12th on clay after breezing through Federer in the semis to take his 12th and get his 18th overall. We have the Stanley Cup Finals. This is where I take a bit of a nap, and the Bry Man gives you his take on what's going down on the ice. And of course, we are going to have some sorts today, and that's the Dark Phoenix. I saw that. I'll give you a very brief kind of rating on that. And then the Bry Man went and saw Men in Black International yesterday. So it hasn't officially dropped yet, but he got to see it a little early, and he will give you his review on that. So we got a great show. Let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bry Man.
All right, Bry Man. I have something I need to talk to you about here. There has been a huge debate about Kevin Durant and playing in the NBA Finals during the 5th game. Now, he came out. He was playing like a man on fire. Raining threes, raining buckets in general, getting in the face of Van Fleet. It was like, on defense when he was there, like it looked like it was going to be a big night for Kevin Durant. But ultimately, the body broke down, and it seems like he ruptured his Achilles, and it did not look good. He immediately, you could see something on his face, and then he kind of like took one step and was like, nope, and just immediately sat down and just waited for help to come. Now, it was pretty brutal to watch. The fans in Toronto at first, and this happens at a lot of stadiums, you can't just blame Toronto. You can't, every single, doesn't matter what sport it is, what kind of venue, where they're at, the home field, when the opposition gets hurt, they always cheer. And it is disturbing and stupid, and I'm glad that, you had people like Lowry and Leonard and stuff like that. We're like, come on, guys, really?
Yeah.
Like, we're Canada. We're better than that.
Right.
All right? Like, come
Right.
on. We're supposed to be nice. So like, and the fans did. they kind of shut it down pretty darn quick,
They
which
did,
is
and
good.
then they clapped for KD when he got up and was able to kind of start, hobbling off. And I am over the whole ripping on fans every single time they cheer when there's an injury, because to your point, it just happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's almost not even worth touching on anymore, because look, there's always going to be a handful of clowns that
They're
want
basically too drunk. I mean, that's probably what it comes down to.
and then you get just some bad people. You just get bad people who root for injury, because that means that gives their team a better chance of winning. And look, if you want to get into the whole karma thing, maybe it played a role, because the Warriors still got out of Toronto with a win and forced a Game 7, and I believe they're going to force a Game 6, and I believe they're going to force a Game 7 as well. With KD though, did you see the video of like his Achilles popping? It's pretty gross too. Like you just see like when he plants the leg, and then you just see the leg jiggle. you know what happened there.
Yep. Oh, I knew as soon as he went down, I was like, that wasn't a strained calf.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's an Achilles right there.
Yeah.
Like he looked in rough shape. I mean and not like his face was in rough shape. Almost like the heart was ripped out of him, because he was kind of like, oh no, I know what that is.
Yeah.
Like he was kind of like, and then he just sat down, and you see him sitting there, and he's just kind of like looking off into space, and it's just like, oh dude, your heart kind of breaks for him.
I felt bad for him
going to like that free agents, there's big talks about him going to play in New York and LA, all these different, and
I'm guessing that's where you want to talk about the business end of it, right? Like, did he?
Well, that's the problem, is that a lot of people have gone to this and said that it was a bad business move, and that's right, that he should have never have played. But first of all, all these people that are making this argument have no idea how he feels. Like, he could feel 100%.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It can happen at any point in time. These guys.
He wanted to play Game 4.
Right. He wanted to play. He said he was ready. His body was ready. He was looking like he was ready. But you know what? Sometimes the body just breaks down. It had nothing like if he did. Of course, it seems like a bad business move after the fact. But if he was fine and reined in 38 points and 12 rebounds and 7 assists, people would be like, oh yeah, that was a great business move. Like you can't say it after the fact. Like, anybody can tear their Achilles in the NBA at any given time. They do so much cutting, and especially after a little bit of a calf strain, which he was benched for a long time.
Right. Yeah,
he had not played for a long time. He felt like he was good to go. Steve Kerr felt like he was good to go. They weren't going to chance him tearing his Achilles.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wanted that.
The bottom line is the cap was compromised.
Klay Thompson could go out there and tear his hamstring. But he kept on playing, and he's fine. Is that a bad business move?
No. And he played. And Klay Thompson, as soon as he came back, was great.
Yes.
What did he drop, like 28 in that first game?
Durant was he was on pace to drop 40 something.
Yeah, Durant was looking good. It looked like he was ready to take over. The first 10 minutes of that game, I was like, oh man, I really wish I had placed it. I'm not a gambling type.
If
I really
anything,
wish I had placed a bet, because there was like 100-1 odds for him to win NBA Finals MVP, and I thought about putting $100 down on it.
Wow.
Just because I was like, think about it. If this guy comes back, they win 3 straight games. There's no doubt he's going to be the MVP.
Yeah.
There's almost no doubt, and that's $10,000 in my pocket. Yeah. And I didn't do it. Because I'm just not a gambler. And I was like, I had actually reached out to one of my friends, and I was like, oh, like, do you know any good gambling sites? And then he's like, oh, ask these 2 guys. And I was like, never mind. But I thought about it. It was probably the first time in a long time.
I'm not talking to those 2 guys. They're shady. Oh, wait a second. I'd be shady too.
No. It's not. No, they're 2 of my best friends.
I'm just kidding.
But I was just over it. I was like, it was like a fleeting moment, and then it went. And then it passed. But I will tell you that the only business gamble. Look, Kevin Durant's a competitor. Okay, all these guys are competitors. They always want to play. There's no. I cannot think. Every time you hear a story about, should this guy sit? Or, should this guy not play so that he doesn't, decrease his value or something in case of an injury? Players don't think like that. Only fans and agents think like that. Or the players' posses or their entourages think like that. Nobody else thinks like that. But it is possible, though, that this derails the Knicks' hopes maybe of landing him because they may be very, very leery of signing a guy who now has a torn Achilles and he's going to have to come back from that injury. Kevin Durant's not an old man by any stretch, but he is in his 30s. And once you're in your 30s, you're officially on the wrong side of 30. Mm-hmm. So that kind of injury to a player of his caliber, I mean, whether you want to believe it or not, will decrease his value in that sense. And, and maybe that does, like I said, derail some of the Knicks' plans, because I would assume that the Knicks' plans included trying to get Kyrie and KD to come to New York, play in the Mecca, play in the Big Apple on the big stage, and now
could get him cheaper. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back and signs like a 1-year deal and stays with Golden State.
Yeah, maybe. I still think that's a possibility.
Because he's going to be cheaper, because people are going to be unsure about his Achilles.
And the last thing I want to say, before we probably move on to the next subject, because NBA Finals, I think this series is interesting now, because I think it went from, at the beginning, I think the Warriors wanted to win, not in spite of Kevin Durant, but they had heard so much talk about can they do it without him?
Yeah.
Maybe just without him. They wanted to prove they could do it without him. Now, after this injury, they want to do it for him. So now, and listen, the Warriors, I look at the Warriors as a team sort of in the way I looked at Jordan as the individual. That team will try and do anything they can to motivate themselves, just the way Jordan would try to motivate himself. And whatever the Warriors can use as fuel to try and win these next 2 games, you best believe they're going to do it. And I have to admit, because I guarantee you this thing's going to 7 games, I'm starting to really think that the Warriors are going to win this in Game 7 on the road. I think there's a possibility that they return that favor that was bestowed upon them a few years ago by the Cavs, and maybe they were down 3-1, and this time they come back and win.
I just don't see it.
And that would be a very fitting way for this Warriors dynasty to maybe come to an end.
Yeah, I don't see it. I can't see the Raptors losing 2 games. Like that would mean they would lose 3 straight games. I can't see this Raptors team losing 3 straight games.
Well, would you have seen the Warriors losing 3 straight games a couple of years ago, even to LeBron? I mean,
I can't put anything past LeBron.
I would not have seen. I'm sorry. There's no way I would have seen that coming. There's no way I would.
But you give it a shot. Like I can't. I honestly can't see the Raptors losing 3. Their team is too good against a injury-riddled Warriors team. Like I just can't see them doing it.
I think though the fact that the Warriors won this game is, you had the emotion, the negative emotion of KD going down early in that game, and yet you still somehow found a way to win this game. I think that might maybe be in Toronto's head a little, because remember, this is Toronto's first time. This is uncharted territory.
Yeah, but they were so far ahead. Like they just kind of maintained that lead, and then it actually got close because Durant wasn't in there anymore. Like you could tell, like the Raptors didn't really have much of a game plan for Kevin Durant. They were just planning on him not being there.
What has to scare you though is that there is I think a very large likelihood that this is going to 7. And at 7, you just don't,
I think this is the year of Kawhi Leonard. Like this is the year of Kawhi Leonard.
I'd like to believe that.
Yeah. It just seems like that is going to be the case. Like he came down and he almost won that game for him just last game. Like he started raining buckets, like 3s and 2. Like he was on fire in the end.
They were already down,
and they got really close. But yeah, it was just a little too late. But I can't imagine. I can't imagine them losing 2 more in a row. I just can't. do it. It's just yes, the Splash Brothers are good and they can start raining 3s like crazy. But the defense that the Raptors have, Van Vliet being all over Steph Curry, has been a thorn in his side. Klay Thompson has been streaky at times good, but he's a good defender. And Draymond Green, I mean, he's just... He's an emotional guy, and that's what he's there for. I mean, if they can really just let the Splash Brothers be the ones that are carrying the team and then just minimize everybody else's productivity, like they can't let Boogie Cousins go off and stuff like that, and which he did for a little while in Kevin Durant's absence. But then the real Boogie Cousins came back, making bad decisions with the basketball and making stupid mental decisions.
Real Boogie Cousins showed up in the post game too. Boy, did he have some comments? Oh man, he Yeah, but take a look at that. It was pretty funny. He really went after
I'll check it out.
Raptors fans.
All right, so we're kind of like on a little bit on odds here. With I think that the Raptors are going to come away with it. You're thinking that this would be a good fitting for the Warriors to take it. I'd like to hear what anybody else thinks. Of course, put it in the comments. We'll put it on the board. But right now, we are going to move on to. We'll talk about this real briefly. I don't want to get into too much. They've been playing bad. They lost 6 of their last 10. They're 4-6. They did not play well against the Indians. They did not play well against the Mets.
One against the Indians, and boy, they almost blew. That would have been the worst loss of the year. That Sunday game, if they had blown that, would have been a disaster.
And then the Mets, they showed up for one game, played poorly in the next, and and Paxton just got lit up. It was those doubleheaders. Doubleheaders are never good. You're almost guaranteed to lose one of them.
It's like
depending on
for a split.
Yeah, it's a tough one. You really have to kind of land into the right situation at the right time to take two.
Is that it actually worked out well yesterday for the Yankees to get both because they worked the bullpen very well. Their full complement of guys was ready for the second game, and then Paxton just got trashed.
It was
didn't
giving
do them any favors, but it was set up nicely for them to get the sweep, and they couldn't do it.
Yeah. All right. So the Yankees, but the big good problem that's your kind of nightmare is I can't believe I read that Judge was going to be back next week.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
I read somewhere that Judge and Stanton both might be back as early as next week, and I was like, Judge, really?
I'm looking at it right now.
Like Judge might be back next week. Has he even started a rehab? Like I don't even remember even hearing him starting to swing a bat. Did you see anything at all?
Okay, I'm reading it now on MLB Trade Rumors. It appears they'll be back in the team's lineup soon. Manager Aaron Boone suggested Tuesday that the Sluggers could return during an upcoming homestand that spans from June 17th to 26th. In the meantime,
that's where I read it. It was a notification from MLB Trade Rumors that popped up.
Started a rehab assignment, and Stanton hit a home run yesterday.
Yeah, I know he started his rehab assignment. And he's got to play a week full of games before he comes.
Well, that would be unbelievable because
we both thought he wasn't going to be back until after the All-Star break.
I thought August, yeah. I was thinking August. I was actually thinking August.
I thought like mid-July he'd be
Maybe mid-July. But either way, we were thinking at least a month.
Yeah.
So that would be tremendous if they came. No, I'm actually kind of on the other end of this now because the team isn't playing so well. So now I'm kind of like, look, that's how fickle baseball
Need a shot of adrenaline.
Yeah, maybe you know what? And the bottom line is maybe this team was never going to be able to win a World Series with just the guys they have right now. Look, I think really the biggest problem that you have, and it's not really a problem because Miguel Andujar went down, so Urshela is still going to be your third baseman. Yep. You just don't want Gio Urshela out of the lineup because he is not giving you any
LeMahieu. Urshela has been.
LeMahieu to me that's not even an issue. You're going to find a way to play that guy.
Urshela is like he's slowly coming back down to earth. As of last week, he was batting 340 still, and now he's batting 316 or 312 or something. So.
I know, but it's still, but he still has the ability to get clutch hits, and every time you think he's going to hit that lull, I don't mind him hitting. I don't mind him hitting 260. That's fine, as long as he plays an all-star caliber third base. I need him to play a Gold Glove type third base. He's been great. He's been great at third. Didn't CeCe call him the greatest third baseman he's ever seen?
I don't know. I didn't hear that.
Well, he did. That was a rhetorical question.
Yeah, okay. I assume so. I don't think you would just make it up out of thin air.
CeCe called Gio Urshela the best defensive third baseman he's ever seen in his career.
That's a big statement.
Pretty high praise. That is a big statement coming from a guy like that.
He's been around the league for a long time.
CeCe's seen a lot of third basemen. It's a big statement, and I thought it was a shot across the bow of A-Rod, who was a tremendous defensive third baseman.
He was all right. He wasn't. It's not like he won multiple Gold Gloves.
He won Gold Gloves.
I think he won one.
I thought he won more than that.
I don't know. He wasn't that good.
I thought he won a couple over there. But A-Rod was a really good defensive third baseman.
He was pretty good.
Let's be honest.
He was pretty good.
CeCe played with him for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he saw that guy over at third.
We always have Scott Brocious in the back of our mind, and that guy.
Scott Brocious was different,
He was a tremendous third baseman. He always used to make that barehanded play. I mean, we had Robin Ventura too. We had Robin Ventura, but when you think Yankee third baseman in our generation, you think Scott Brocious.
Oh yeah, of course you do.
That's
but
what
that's
you
tied
think
to championships too.
championships and just that
Guy was
play
running
that he
tight
was
with you.
doing before everybody else. We're palming the ball and throwing it to first.
Yep.
It was so good.
Yep.
So smooth over there. It was like a shock when he didn't make a play.
I will tell you though, I'll be happy to have at this point. I'm happy to have Judge back and right, and look, the
Not
DH
yet, but yeah,
it's going to be interesting, but because it's so tough. Like Frazier, it's so tough for me with Frazier because like he still has good at bats.
Mm-hmm.
The guy can hit. I mean, this guy can clearly hit. He is a mess in the field. Even just watching him, couple of plays yesterday. God, he really misread some balls, and he did catch them, but holy cow, like 2 incidents yesterday. Like, he is so shaky out in right. Why are they – he needs to be in left. He can't be in right. The guy cannot play right field. He can't play right field. It's too big. Right field in Yankee Stadium is too big. He needs to be in left, and it's – they still are problems. I don't know if they're good problems to have anymore. I think at this point you want these guys back, even though I'm a little scared of Stanton and what's going to happen there because
he's going to walk a ton.
He's going to walk. He's going to strike out a ton, and you're just going to get tired of it real quick. And then you are going to be calling for Frazier or somebody else. Yeah, who knows? Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, maybe the two of them. Judge, you got to want back no matter what. I mean, no matter what. I don't care who's in right field. You got to want Judge back. I mean, that's one of the three faces of baseball. So he needs to be out there. And if he comes back a month early, that's fantastic. But let's be honest. The biggest issue for this team is pitching.
Rotation.
And I'll tell you what, they opted not to give the money to Keuchel, and that's all well and good.
I was pulling for it over and over and over again, and he came out. Did you see his first start in the minors?
No, how was it?
7 innings. He went 7 innings and struck out like 10 and like didn't walk a batter and like.
I'm not going to get worked up over a minor league start, but that is a heck of a start for a guy who hasn't thrown, and other than sim games, he hasn't thrown anything.
But he came out and he did it in like something ridiculous, like 77 pitches.
Yeah, it doesn't. I'm not shocked. We're talking about a former Cy Young winner. I'm not surprised about anything we're going to hear about Dallas Keuchel, and I fully expect him to pitch well in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But
after a start like that, I was like, "Whoa!"
You better go and get yourself. And now, but what I'm already hearing out the bat is that the asking price for either Mad Bum or Mad Max is going to be very, very, very high.
As it should.
I mean, it's going to be, but maybe even outside of what the Yankees are willing to do. So we'll see.
Yankees need to start stepping up. Trade some of these people. We have too many people. We have way too many people.
I do agree with you, though, that they need to step up because, look, you're in first place now. You're tied with the Rays. You're 8 games up on Boston. If you're not going for it now, then you're never going for it. And if you want to pass on Keuchel, fine, but you better go and get one of those two guys. Because other than those two guys, who else is available that you'd even be interested in? I mean, is Trevor Bauer going to be out there? I don't know.
Kluber.
Yeah, maybe Kluber.
But he's injured. You don't know if when he's coming back. That's the problem. I think he's signed through next year, though. So.
Yes, he is.
So I mean, it's that could be a kind of a good cool option.
I mean, the Indians are bad, so you got to think. But Carrasco has completely hurt his value. Plus, he just signed a deal, so I don't think they want to trade him anyway. But I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, maybe Kluber, but that's
at the end. That's an end of the year. That's like mid-August maybe when he comes back. And, I mean, it would be huge. I mean, because he's pitches. He's a good pitcher.
Imagine if him and Severino were in the rotation coming in at the same time.
I would be very excited.
Be okay with it.
Yes, I'd be very happy. All right, so let's move on. We're going to go on real quick, just kind of breeze through this part because it's not a topic that we talk a ton about. I mean, we're going to get a little bit more into golf maybe as the week goes on, but we have the greatest clay player of all time. Nadal wins his 12th on clay, his 18th overall. Yeah, ho-hum. He breezed through Federer. He breezed through Tim in the finals. It was just he is just absolutely the greatest clay player of all time. I don't think there's even close to an argument for that.
I don't even know who the second best is.
I mean, like you've had some players that have been really good, but like not like this. And on top of that, he's got 18. He's 2 behind Federer of all time. He is approaching it. But the problem is with Federer, he's just been great on everything. He's won on everything, and obviously a majority of his stuff.
Because Federer's won 1 on clay, and Nadal's won 12 on clay.
Right.
And like that's the difference in their games. Otherwise, they're actually. Federer's won but Federer has won he's really won a lot more evenly of the others.
Yeah. And he's a pretty good clay player. If Federer was not around,
Oh my God! If Nadal was
if Nadal wasn't around,
won what? Like probably 5.
Yeah,
maybe more. I don't know.
If Nadal wasn't around,
We'd
be talking about probably Federer coming close to 30 overall. It'd be ridiculous.
Federer as the greatest athlete of all time.
Yeah, I know, right?
Not just the greatest tennis player.
So, I mean, it's an amazing accomplishment for Nadal, who's my favorite tennis player right now. Obviously, Federer is yours, but it was a good showing from him again on clay, and we'll see what happens at the end of the day when the dust settles, and who has more. But I kept on saying for a long time that there is a chance that Nadal will catch him, and it is getting closer and closer.
Well, there is because of the clay advantage.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know anybody who could. He didn't even look like he was close to being beaten last week on clay.
He was.
He's gonna get one more of those.
Yeah, probably.
And I just don't know if Federer's got any left.
It's all about injuries, and that's where it is at this age. I mean, Federer's in his.
Oh yeah, how you maintain your body, and
he's doing a great job. Coming back from all the injuries and stuff like that. But now he's got some, lingering things going on now. So I mean, it's as you get older.
Man's in his mid to late 30s. He's 36,
which is unheard of in tennis.
For him to be this competitive, like reaching semifinals. It's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
All right, so then I just wanted to breeze past the U.S. Open, which is going on today. Can't wait for the U.S. Open. I'm super excited to watch this.
Starts tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm sorry. Today's Pro-Am. Yeah. So it comes. The first round starts tomorrow. It's going to be awesome to watch as always. The U.S. Open is so fun because the greens are usually crazy.
Bethpage? Where is it?
I think it's Pebble, isn't it?
Oh, it's Pebble. Yeah, that's right.
So it's going to be a really interesting course, and we'll see. We're going to get some beautiful shots. It's a really nice course. I actually heard it's a little overrated from some people that I've heard that played it, but overall, can't wait to see this tournament, see how it plans out. Usually these greens are usually crazy fast, so tough, and I'm really interested to see if any of these top players can actually pull it out, or if Brooks comes out of nowhere and just starts dominating again.
Maybe Phil can find it. This is the only hole in Phil's resume.
Yeah.
No.
Come on, Phil.
I don't know how he is at Pebble Beach.
He's hilarious on Instagram. That's all I gotta say. Hilarious on Instagram, doing thumb exercises.
He's a very loosened up guy. He really
yes, he is.
You can tell he's really enjoying the latter stages.
Calves of Adonis.
He's enjoying the latter stages of his career. He really is.
Calves are what help you drop bombs.
He was always lighthearted, but I mean, he's really let. Him and Tiger, between the two of them, are a lot of fun.
Nope, that's what we're going into. All right, so let's get into this real quick before we leave, because Bryman has to exit. And what am I doing here? I'm all out of control. Dark Phoenix, I saw it real quick. I thought it is pretty much as everybody said. It was rushed. It seemed a little chaotic. The actors, several of the actors seemed like they were kind of over it. The studio seemed like they were kind of over it. Yes, all that stuff is very true. But I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as people are saying. It wasn't a great movie. It wasn't a good movie. I would put it in tune with Somewhere Around the Last Stand, which I thought was okay at best. And I think that this was okay at best. I do not think it earns the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score in the history of X-Men movies. I think I would probably give it somewhere between a 5.5 and a 6 out of 10. I would, if I lean towards it, I'd probably say 6 because there were characters I really cared about and I really connected with. So I would say yes. And it had some really cool moments, but overall it was kind of, you could tell that Kinberg, who was the director, it was his first time. He should stick to writing. That's pretty much it for that.
All right. And I saw Men in Black International last night, which I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. Solid movie, fun, pretty fast-paced. The length was perfectly fine, but I do think there was a little bit of a gap in terms of some of the storytelling when it came to Tessa Thompson's character, who plays Agent M. Her name is Molly. They sped up, they really sped through, the Men in Black training portion when she first gets accepted. They could have done, I just felt like that part was really rushed. Oh wait, she's already ready, and it's well, that's seems a bit. There could have been like a 2-minute montage that they could have added in there to kind of show like rigorous training or whatever, but they kind of like skipped past it. Really like on the editing floor.
Yeah.
But overall, fun movie.
Any cameos? By some previous.
No. Nope. Yeah, no Tommy Lee Jones, no Will Smith. Didn't see. Nope. Not even like a Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
Nope. A funny Thor reference.
Yeah, with the hammer. They have that in the trailer. They have that in the trailer.
Yeah, that I thought was pretty good. There is like when he first meets her, and I think I was the only person in the theater who giggled a little bit when he first meets her. He's like, have we met?
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny, and I don't think anybody else picked up on it.
Which is, how do you not pick up on that? That's the MCU right there. I mean, like
it wasn't
Valkyrie. Come on.
It was a bit right. I mean, it was, he's like, have we met? Kind of thing, and it was an enjoyable movie. I loved the little alien who ends up being named Pawnee/Steve, who that's voiced by is it Kumail Nanjiani?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He's
really
hilarious.
funny.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, he's funny. He's great. I love his voice is just so great. You and I used to love him on Franklin and Bash.
Oh my God, he was so good.
He was so good on that show.
OCD, always cleaning.
Yeah, he was great. But it was an enjoyable movie. 7 out of 10. Listen, the first two Men in Blacks I think are really, really good.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't put this in that realm. This one's probably in there with the third. But even to say it's the third or the fourth best in the franchise is not a knock on it because I've enjoyed all these movies.
Yeah.
So go see it. It's a good summer movie.
Yeah, the first two are really good. The third one was all right.
Yeah, the first two are really, really good to me. Like actually, because Caitlin had already seen the first one. And we walked out, and I was like, so how'd you like it? She's like, oh, I liked it a lot. She's like, the first one's better.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So Kamal, that actor, I can't wait to see him in the movie that he's in with Bautista.
Stuber?
Yeah, Stuber. That looks hilarious.
Well, I have passes for it. I might be seeing it next week. I'm not sure.
Oh, you have to let me know how funny that is. That looks like it is going to be kind of like the I don't know if it'll be underrated. Like, I don't know if a ton of people are going to go see it, but that movie looks like it's going to be hilarious. Like, on the level of, like, Hot Tub Time Machine, kind of. Like,
yeah. Stupid big laughs, maybe.
Yeah. I can't wait to see that.
I'm with you.
I can't wait to see that. So, I think The Dark Phoenix was okay. I mean, it's not the worst movie of all time. I don't understand the critics and some of these people that just get on with these actors, get on with these like critics and stuff like that, and they just start all jumping on the trash bin that is these movies. Like, oh, this person said it's terrible, I'm gonna hop on that because I think it's horrible too. And like they just nitpick it to death. Like, if they ever did that with an MCU movie, you could easily do it with MCU movies. Sure. Like, you could tear apart Endgame if you wanted to. You could tear apart the Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3. You could tear apart Thor: The Dark World. You could tear apart so many movies that you could just absolutely trash. Avengers: Age of Ultron. You could absolutely trash them.
Yeah, that was on last night.
But you know what? They don't. Because it has that formula where they give me some laughs and they give me some action. It's the same movie every single time. They haven't gotten tired of it yet. No. They learned that. They learned that from Star Wars. Like, action, funny, all of it. That's what they did. They just brought that formula in. It worked for Star Wars. Worked for them. When Star Wars kind of got away from it, that was the prequels.
Look at The Force Awakens. It basically entirely follows the New Hope formula. Mm-hmm. I mean,
It's just that's how they wanted to do a formula, and that's what they did. That's what they got, and it's a good formula. It's just unfortunate that they can't expand upon it, make something a little different.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is what it is. But Keith Sherry, Brock is killing WWE. I don't know what that means.
That's a true fact. No, he is. Well, because Brock Lesnar is a part-timer.
Mm-hmm.
He's a part-time. Look, if Brock Lesnar,
look,
showed up.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Yeah. If Brock Lesnar showed up, not even every week, even if he just showed up every other week, people would not hate him as much. But everybody knows what he is. He's a mercenary, and Vince McMahon has given Brock Lesnar a long leash to basically do whatever he wants. He pays him a ridiculous amount of money to show up barely at it because Vince McMahon's philosophy on Brock Lesnar is that he's a special attraction. And as a special attraction, you shouldn't be able to see the special attraction
He's
often.
the carnival. He's the carnival of.
Yeah, he's like the
Gravitron.
and he's like the one-eyed man and the bearded lady rolled all into one.
The
You only get to see
Gravitron that comes
you
into
only see
town
that
once
at the end of the show.
every summer.
Yeah, and Brock Lesnar shows up when he wants. Private jet. He's not one of those. He doesn't hang out with the guys in the locker room.
He has
He's
a private
mercenary.
jet.
Of course he does. He's a mercenary. He shows up, X amount of times per year that Vince needs. Actually, it was kind of funny because a few weeks ago he had shown up like 3 different times, like at Money in the Bank, and then on Raw, and then on SmackDown. And he had showed up for like 3 consecutive days, which was the most he had probably showed. Like he had showed up, I think, in a 9. Like Tim Callahan and I were joking about this. He had showed up more times in a 9-day span than he had showed up in the previous 9-month span. It was crazy. Like it was, and what's weird? Like, I don't actually hate Brock Lesnar. I just hate his schedule. I wish the guy was on more because I don't like his character per se, but the dude is a badass. I mean, you can't deny it. He is a wrecking machine, and he's kind of the one guy, maybe more than any, because of his MMA background, that you sort of legit believe hurts people. Because look at him, and look what he's done in the past. The guy was a UFC heavyweight champion of the world. I mean, he was the guy was an amateur wrestling, champion. I mean, the guy has an unbelievable mixed martial arts and wrestling.
It's like when
background.
Kurt Angle was in the league, but I mean, when he was there,
But
you
Kurt
believed
Angle
that
was
he
in
was going to
his prime.
destroy people because he could really do it.
And Kurt Angle was one of the best of all time because Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar couldn't touch Kurt Angle on his best day because Kurt Angle was technically one of the best wrestlers ever, and on the mic he was gold.
He was awesome.
Gold,
He was
and
just
he's got some
amazing.
of the more memorable, bits in
Smart
wrestling
dude.
history.
He's a smart dude.
Yeah, I mean, he's just, he was unbelievable.
I used to love when he used to come out with all those gold medals.
Oh, he came out with his gold medal, and he had his catchphrases, and he was great. Brock doesn't talk much because Paul Heyman is his mouthpiece.
Well, because he can't. He's a moron.
He can't. He's not great at it. Although every once in a while when he does speak, I actually do find it kind of entertaining in a way because he doesn't do it often. But actually, he was doing this thing. Like recently, he's doing this thing with the Money in the Bank. He's got the Money in the briefcase, and he's rocking it like a boombox, which I think is really funny. Like I think that's actually really funny. And they even made like a T-shirt out of it. They like called Brock Party. They call it the Brock Party, and he comes out like and he's like he's banging it. It's actually pretty entertaining. But then he goes away for like a month or two, and you don't see him. Like he's going to be gone now for a while. You were not going to see him for a while until he's ready to cash in that briefcase. And that's what's
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
It's not. It
paying
hasn't.
off for him.
People get tired of it. People get tired of it because, like, I think Brock is one of those guys that people would probably like to like him, but he doesn't. He makes it so hard on you because he's just never there, and that's really
I would love to see Brock dancing. He said that Brock was dancing in the ring, if I can believe that.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's the Brock Party thing.
Yeah.
That's him like boomboxing with the briefcase, and it is funny. And I also would agree with what Keith is saying here too. Like he needs to be out of the title picture. That's part of the problem. Is that Vince, the guy in the last 3 years that he's been around,
The guy that
he's
has the
never
titles has to
not-
be around.
but he's never not in the title picture. And Brock Lesnar doesn't need to be champion. He doesn't need to be. First of all, he should never be champion because of the amount of times that he shows up.
Right.
Champion needs to be there every week. He's
Can you
not.
imagine like in any other sport, like just
It's
winning
ridiculous.
and then like, oh, sorry, or like boxing. Be like,
Like-
oh, I boxed, I won, and I'm just going to take 3 years off.
So
can't-
even in the 80s when Hogan was champion all the time, and Hogan was champion for like 3-4 plus years when you put like all of his reigns together in the 80s. At one point he was champion for like 3 straight years. The guy, I mean, first of all, that was an era when there were only 4 pay-per-views. But Hogan didn't just work the 4 pay-per-views. He worked WWF Superstars. He worked, what was the other show? Wrestling Challenge. And he was at every house show, which those were not televised. He was at every one, and I know because I was at a lot of those and saw him. I touched him once. He was on the arm. I did. I touched him on the arm, and I smelled my fingers. It smelled like cinnamon because he the oil, like this, it was like a cinnamon kind of oil. Yeah.
You touched him and smelled your fingers?
Yeah, I did. I know. Out of context, that sounds really weird, but I did. Well, we got to go. So, the end of our program. The words of the Tony Stark for the end. So yeah, we should probably go on that.
I love you 3000. Instead of cheeseburgers, I want some cinnamon. Touched him and smelled my fingers.
Yeah,
what?
Yeah. Even Keith is piecing out after that. He gone. I touched it.
Touched it and smelled my fingers.
I was this close. I touched it. That's from, do you remember Robin Hood Men in Tights?
I do. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Not my favorite,
Remember
but I love that Mel Brooks
talking
movie.
about the sheriff?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, bugger. I was that close. I touched it.
She didn't smell her fingers, though. All right, so thank you very much for watching, listening, however you took this in. We really appreciate it.
We'll understand if you don't come back.
Smelled like cinnamon. All right, so thank you very much. You can find me on Twitter at Einhornisfinkel.
Find me on Twitter at _Bri_Matt.
You can find him at Cinnamon. Finger sniffer. All right, thank you guys for taking this in.
Classic.
Whatever, just don't touch us. You might smell like cinnamon. All right, thank you.
It's not the right thing.
See you later. www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. Peace.